Many Amazon FBA sellers have cash flow problems. It's classic. In this video, which is hosted by LISETT LEES, we talk to Costas from Storfund company, which provides a solution for sellers to get daily payments for their Amazon sales. Costas and LISETT discuss the importance of cash flow, the difference between loans and daily cash advances, and also they present the requirements in order to use Storefund services. If you want to learn more about this solution, find the special offer and the link in the description of this video. And of course, if at any time you find any kind of information useful, don't forget to click the like button below this video and subscribe to our channel.
Hi Costas, I'm happy to have you here on Orange Klik channel again to talk about how Storefund helps Amazon sellers. But before we start, could you please introduce yourself a little bit and tell us what you do and what the company does?
Yeah, many thanks, LISETT, for having us. As you mentioned, this is our second time. We were here more than 2 years ago when we had just launched our service, cash advances, daily cash advances for Amazon retailers. And we're very happy to be back to talk about our new features, as well as showcase the impact that our service has had on e-commerce retailers. My name is Costas. I'm the head of business development of Storfund. Storfund is a fintech company headquartered in London, and we serve e-commerce retailers from California all the way to Australia.
What's the main issue you help Amazon sellers to solve?
Well, the main issue is growth. So our service accelerates the cash cycle of e-commerce retailers, unlocks liquidity. We advance daily cash across 17 Amazon marketplaces. And in this way, we accelerate the growth of successful e-commerce retailers.
Okay, so that's indeed very important topic for the Amazon sellers. And I know you have prepared slides for us as well to give a better overview what you do and what you can do to help Amazon sellers. So let's go into that.
So as we all know, the past year and a half has been unprecedented for the e-commerce sector. We have seen growth across all product categories, and of course, across all marketplaces on Amazon and beyond. So this is, and as we all know, growth requires capital, growth demands liquidity and cash. This is a good problem to have, right? This is a problem that successful e-commerce retailers have. And here is where Storefund comes into play. Our clients want to grow. All clients are high growth e-commerce retailers, and they have definitely have grasped the opportunity that e-commerce provides. We do not work with small sellers. We do not work with new sellers. I just want to highlight this. We have a minimum threshold of 25 to 30K per month. So you should have a monthly gross sales in excess of $30,000, $35,000, pounds or euros to register with our service. So what is it that we do? Sell today, get paid today. So irrespective of the marketplace payment terms, whether it is 7 days, 14 days, or even more, 20, 25 days, we advance at the end of the day 80% of your total balance. So we're reading, thanks to the Amazon API, all your credits and debits over 24 hours. And right there at the end, right after midnight, we advance in the currency of your preference, your preferred currency, or even in multiple currencies, more about that later, 80% of that total balance. And we can do that across 17 Amazon marketplaces, right? We're the only global solution. Now, the remaining 20%, of course, we don't have it because we advance against the promise of Amazon that they will pay in accordance to their payment schedule. When Amazon pays, when Amazon distributes, we simply forward the 20% buffer. Why do we start with 8%? Because we do not know your account, right? We want to protect ourselves against high return rates or abnormal Amazon charges and fees. As we grow more comfortable with your account, we can increase our advance rate. So what is the big deal with same-day cash advances? Why is there demand for a service, right? And actually global demand? Well, the answer is simple. You can go further. You can squeeze more value out of your back. You can grow your business without changing your capital structure, right? You don't have to increase your equity or your debt. You will simply generate more profit with your own, with the capital that you currently employ. I like to say, and I have seen that over the past 3 years, you are with same day cash advances, you are putting your e-commerce business on steroids. And let me elaborate about this a little bit. So your business has a certain cash cycle, right? So over a number of days, you will turn your capital X number of times. So over a set period of time, you will be able to turn your cash a number of times. In this illustrated example, it's 3. So you have your initial capital, it's equity and debt. You purchase inventory is shipped, it's stored, eventually it's sold, it becomes a receivable, and hopefully everything is sold at your preferred price and returns back into your pocket, your initial capital plus profit, and all over again. So what is it that we do? Over the same period of time, right? You will be able to turn your cash more times, right? Why is that? Because you're getting paid every day. So we're shortening that cash cycle, which means that over the same period of time, like before, like in the previous slide, you will be able to turn your cash more times and hence grow. You will be able to generate more sales and more profit over that period of time. So do we have proof that it works? Over the past 3 years, we have worked with a plethora of e-commerce retailers, and we have seen the positive impact of our service. So I'm just going to highlight 4 cases here. So this is a case of a private label seller, bath and shower category. They're selling across all the major European Amazon marketplaces. They joined our service in early 2020, and you can see the immediate impact of our service on month 1 and 2. However, then the pandemic hit, right? We have the first lockdown. The retailer faced some supply chain issues. Then they had problem actually even shipping their product on time, their FBM. They were suspended, I think for a high ODR in one of the Amazon marketplaces. But thanks to a competent management, they managed to bounce back, they managed to rebound. So starting early in the summer of 2020, they consistently grew over the ensuing months. So they have added close to 200% of extra sales and hence profit. Another case is an electronics reseller. Again, they're selling in all the major European marketplaces. They were right there at the threshold. So they were doing close to 30,000 a month. Reseller of electronics, they purchased the merchandise, they purchased their stock from wholesalers, so they have really short lead times, and the impact of our service was immediate, right? Because they were able to turn their cash cycle much faster, restock much faster, and then grow substantially over the next few months. I have another case, and I also like to mention here, I would like to mention here that our service is also available in marketplaces beyond Amazon. So we are also supporting e-commerce retailers of Cdiscount. Cdiscount is one of the largest, if not the largest, e-commerce marketplace in France. Here is a case of a furniture reseller, a mixture of private label and reselling. Again, they joined our service in late 2019. We have, again, the pandemic impact, right? They had issues with their supply chain, but they managed to put everything in place and rebound starting in April 2020. So the pandemic is a mixed bag, of course. Overall, if we look at the aggregate level, e-commerce grew. And many sellers, many retailers, even though they face some initial difficulty, they managed to solve the issues and really take advantage of the COVID-19 e-commerce boom. And this is what we also like in our retailers, the ability to deal with problems and solve them correctly. So they grew by their average. We have helped them generate on average more than 385% of extra sales and hence profits. Now, this is my last example. This is one of our oldest, if not the oldest, e-commerce retailer we're working with. We're still working with over 30 months. A private label seller in 3 categories. They joined us in late 2018. They were really small back then. They were doing around 10,000. And over the next months, they have added marketplaces. So they're selling in North America, Europe, all the way to Oceania. They have added product lines. And actually, they are about to sell, or I think they have already sold one of their products to one of the Amazon aggregators. So cash advances have been essential for their success. Of course, we are not going to take credit of that average sales increase of 682%. It's a very competent e-commerce seller and his team of engineers. They really know the Amazon way, and they have generated, they have accomplished, and they have been very successful. And we're very happy to be part of their success story. Now, what's the cost? I would like to actually reframe this. I think the right question is, how much money are you willing to pay to grow on average by 20%? So if we look at our universal average, so for all of the retailers that have joined our service over the past 3 years, the average extra sales growth that we have generated is 20%. Now, if we look into a subset of this, a slice that is composed, I would like to say, of more seasoned entrepreneurs, of e-commerce retailers that they really, really know what they're doing, that average is in excess of 35 to 40%. So that is, for me, this is the right question when it comes to everyday cash advances. How much money are you willing to pay to grow without changing your capital structure, right? You're not adding any more debt. You're not adding any more equity, right? You're just going to generate more profit. We apply a fee of 1 to 2%, and this depends on your sales volume and, of course, on your Amazon health metrics. This is also very, very important. Unlike our direct competitors, we charge on the net balance and not on gross sales. So depending on your gross net ratio, we are cheaper anything between 25 to 50%. Now, our service is available, as I mentioned before, in all, or not all, I mean, in 17 Amazon marketplaces. So North America, European Union plus the UK, Middle East, Singapore, Japan, and Oceania. So that's it from me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That was indeed a very good overview of what you do and how your service works in order to serve Amazon sellers. So I think my first question, I would like to ask a little bit like clarification from you. Like I understand your service is not about providing a loan. So could you highlight once more what's the difference between what you do and perhaps like a traditional loan sellers could get from banks or from other services?
Yeah, that's a great question. So as I said, what we do in accounting speak, it's called factoring of receivables, right? So we use the term cash advances, everyday cash advance for your e-commerce balance. Now, you do not add a liability. When you take a loan, when you take debt, you're actually adding a liability on your balance sheet. What we do is we accelerate your own funds. So we accelerate, you're expecting to get paid. You will get paid in 14 days, 7 days, 25 days, depending on your payment terms with Amazon. So we are accelerating this. We're not changing your capital structure. Your capital structure remains the same. And if you use successfully this added liquidity, as the cases in my examples, so if you manage to generate more growth with your own, with your existing capital structure, that means that you will also generate more profit. So if you want to think about it in terms of ROI, the return on your invested capital, your denominator is your equity and debt. This doesn't change. Your numerator is your net operating profit, right? So this will increase. So when I said we're going to put your business on steroids, that's what I meant. So you're gonna get more value for your buck. So your ROI will increase just by getting paid faster, restocking faster, shortening your cash cycle. Or product, it's complementary to a loan, right? Obviously, if the e-commerce retailers can have access to debt at a competitive rate, this is great. So they will change their capital structure. So they will have equity plus debt. Debt also is tax deductible, right? The interest payment is tax deductible. So in a way, it's subsidized by the existing tax regime. And they can grow their business since they have more funds available. Or service is complementary. And I will say that the majority of the successful e-commerce retailers that we have, they also have debt. You need an optimal capital structure. And of course, this depends on the balance sheet of the business, right? You don't want to have too much debt because then the interest rate will become too high, right? You're gonna have a hard time getting a loan. So our service is complementary, it's very flexible, right? It scales as you scale. And of course, you can stop it at any given time. So you can use your service for 3 months when you have a liquidity crunch or when you want to take advantage of the opportunity at hand to restock an ASIN, an SKU that is doing very well. I mean, we can talk about it for hours. I don't want to get too much into depth, but yeah, that's a short answer. A short answer to a very important question.
Okay, that's very good. Yeah, I think you gave actually a pretty good explanation, the difference between and how it really works. So you mentioned a couple of times there are certain requirements for Amazon sellers in order to start using your services. So you mentioned a little bit about sales volume, but are there like other requirements as well? For example, does it matter where the company is formed, in which country? Are there any restrictions or some kind of other metrics you are looking at?
Yeah, I mean, we want to have a healthy Amazon account. Let me start by saying that.
And that was also one of my questions. You mentioned about health metrics. So what exactly are you looking at into that account?
Well, first of all, we want to see the entrepreneur, right? And we want to understand what the business model is, what they're trying to achieve. We want to scale your success. So we want to onboard already successful e-commerce retailers, people that they know what they're doing and where they're going, right? Now, when it comes to, it's the Amazon health metrics, of course, it's a dynamic thing, but we want to be sure, we want to be certain that the business owner or owners know how to deal with Amazon. They know how to deal with a suspension, right? Actually, if they have been suspended and reinstated, that's great, because they mean that they have the processes in place to deal with such situations. Now, when it comes to jurisdictions, as I mentioned before, we're a global service. So we can onboard any legal entity from that they have been formed in the United States, Canada, all of the European Union, the United Kingdom, Australia, and even China and Hong Kong.
And perhaps like a good follow-up question is like, how do you usually verify the seller, and how long does it usually take to onboard a company to start using your services?
Yeah, that's a good question too. Usually, I would say between 48 to 72 hours, we can start cash advancing. So our process is streamlined. If the applicant uploads all the right documents, because sometimes we have to go back and forth. Remember, we give money out, right? So we have to have incorporation documents, proof of identity, proof of address. It's not a mere subscription. And we're also registered with the Financial Conduct Authority in London for anti-money laundering purposes. So, we have a process that we adhere to. So that's, I will say, I wouldn't say 24 hours, but 48 to 72 hours. Definitely for companies that are incorporated in the United States, Canada, UK, and Germany, France.
So you mentioned also you're quite global company. So does it mean that when you're actively working with different marketplaces in different countries, does it mean that you are able to receive payments also in different currencies? Because in each country, in a lot of countries, we had different currencies. So I just had a question about that as well.
Yeah, this is one of the new features that we launched last fall. So actually, since we started in Europe, we had to deal with two currencies from the get-go, right? The euro and the British pound. And the majority of the e-commerce retailers, or a fair amount, they're already selling in both currencies. So right now we have launched, back in the fall, we launched what we call the Storfund wallet. So you can actually receive your cash advances in the currency of the marketplace. So let's say you're selling, let's take a big example. Let's say you are an American entity, you sell in the United States, you sell in Canada, you sell in the UK, and you sell in France. So right now we have 4 currencies. With Storfund, you have an option. If you want, you can receive all your balances across these 4 marketplaces in US dollars. We can do that for you. Or you can receive 4 cash advances, which will credit your Storfund wallet. So your Storfund wallet, you have a USD wallet, a CAD wallet, a GBP wallet, and a Euro wallet. So you will receive daily forecast advances against the balances of these 4 different Amazon marketplaces. So we give you the freedom, and of course you also take the FX risk, right, to do whatever you want. And I will have to say that the majority of the international retailers that we have in our service, they're taking advantage of that. I think this is a big this was a big thing for the international sellers, because now they can they can convert. We have a very competitive currency conversion rate, which is a fraction of we can beat any rate right now. I will dare say that we can beat any rate when it comes to FX across all payment service providers. So yeah, I think that actually gives greater freedom, and actually the retailer, the seller, they can use our interface to pay. They can pay their suppliers, they can pay their Chinese suppliers, they can actually transfer money, SWIFT, SEPA, with all across the world. So we are a truly global service.
Okay, so basically you can do the payment from your platform.
Exactly. They can do the payment from our platform. And this is something that we're very proud about, because we recognize the need early on. And this is something that a lot of retailers were asking. And we sat down with our partners and we crafted the solution.
Okay, that definitely makes life for Amazon sellers a little bit more easier. Okay, that's great. So to sum it up, do you have any tips or just takeaways to share with sellers regarding managing their cash flow or dealing with payments that you would like to share based on your experience seeing and cooperating with different e-commerce marketplace sellers?
Well, I think I have an advice. The first advice is resilience. They have to be resilient. This is irrespective of the cash flow issues. They have to be patient, and they really have to be, how can I say that? They have to build a robust business, right? And that's where cash flow is very important. You start with your own equity, you start with your own money. Of course, that's most people how they start. Then you might add some debt. You might take a loan. A loan is other people's money. So you make a commitment to pay them back, right? To pay the bank back from your future cash flow, right? So that's why I always say, when you add debt to a business, you increase the uncertainty of an already uncertain venture. So you have to be very careful, and you have to be sure, right? You make a bet about the future. So it should not be, you should have the cash reserves, you should have the liquidity to withstand an unfortunate event, right? To withstand a situation where your bet about the future did not materialize, or did not materialize in full. Because as you know, Lisette, we plan, but few things go according to our plans, right? Very few things go, there's always a deviation. So daily payment, daily cash advances is another tool that can help e-commerce retailers go the extra mile. So you can use it without a loan, with a loan. It's very flexible, and it scales as you scale. So yeah, I will just, if you want me to sum it up, is resilience. It's a marathon. Be prepared. Be patient, right? There will be opportunities. It's not a 100-meter dash. You're building a business, right? And try to be robust. So these are my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you, Costas, for joining me here today. So if any of our viewers has any questions to you or would like to know more about the services, then what's the best way to reach out to you and learn more?
Well, they can reach out to me directly. My email is costas@storfund.com. So COSTAS at storfund.com. Our team of growth advisors, we are polyglots, so we speak many languages, all the major ones, from obviously English, lingua franca, French, Italian, Spanish, Mandarin, German, and we will be very happy to assist and answer their questions. We also have a special for the Orange Klik community. I share with you a promo code, and we are giving 14 days, 14 days of free financing to the retailers that are registered and of course are approved for our service.
Okay, that sounds really great. Thank you so much. So see you soon.
Thank you very much, Lisette, for having us, and hopefully in 2 years' time, we're going to have a third session.
Or earlier.
Or earlier.
If you want to use Storfund services to manage your daily payments and cash flow, find the link below in the description, also a special offer. And now I recommend you to watch other video on our channel where we explain different Amazon FBA marketplaces such as Sweden, Singapore, and United Arab Emirates, and what opportunities are there for you.